GPT 5.5 was recently released, and this is a big deal because it's OpenAI's first fully retrained model in a while since actually 4.5. In the next 7 minutes, I'm going to explain to you what is this model, what are the strengths, what's the noise and fluff that you honestly need to avoid, and I'm going to show you its strengths in a live practice. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So what's new about this model? Well, first of all, like I mentioned, it is its first fully retrained model since GPT 4.5. It's not like the 5.1 to 5.4 line, which were just some tweaks that were done post-release. Now, one thing that a lot of users have said online, and I do fully agree with this, is that you're not really going to see a visual change in responses. It's not going to look very different. And that is because the strengths, the improvements that have gone into this model have not been so much, and now I'm going to justify it to you with data, so much when it comes to making smarter answers, but it actually comes to agentic work. As you know, agentic AI is one of the most important things that companies are working on now. Agentic AI basically means that instead of just asking a question and expecting a response, as you typically get from an LLM, so traditional models such as GPT, you are actually delegating your work onto an agent that executes multiple tasks at once. So the key word for this new model is autonomy. And here are the 3 most important KPIs that I want to show with you. So number 1, knowledge work across 44 real occupations measured by GPT-5.5. Basically, you can see a very, very small increase. In GPT 5.4, the score was 83%. Now in 5.5, it's only 84.9%. This is a marginal improvement. Like I said, on everyday answers, there is basically not much of a difference because this was not the focus of this news model. Now, moving on to the next metric, we can see here Terminal Bench 2.0. Basically means multi-step tasks that require planning and tool use. Here's where we see the increase. In 5.4, it was 75%, and now in 5.5, it is 82.7%. And guys, this is a big deal because let me give you some context. Opus 4.7, fantastic model by Claude, only sits at 69.4%, and Gemini 3.1 Pro sits at 68.5%. What this basically means in plain natural English is that GPT 5.5 is much, much better at agentic work and delegating multiple tasks at once than its competitors at Anthropic and Google. And finally, the third KPI that I wanted to bring for you guys is the multi-step customer workflow, which as you can see sits at 98% without any prompt tuning. Basically, this talks about efficiency. It does a lot less work. It uses roughly 40% fewer output tokens to do the same work and at the same speed as 5.4. And before we jump into the live practice, I want to tell you a real anecdote from OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, and that is that they reviewed 25,000 tax forms, which were over 75,000 pages using this model. Why? Because you can delegate multiple tasks, all the tasks related to reviewing a tax invoice. And it was capable of completing it successfully in 2 weeks less than in the previous test that OpenAI had done with previous models. This is a pure example of how good it is at delegating tasks and being faster and using less tokens. The core message here, the strength of this model is delegating using agents, so splitting up multiple tasks and assigning an agent to execute each one. But then it doesn't just do that, it actually goes back and reviews its work, and it makes sure it is perfect or much, much more improved before it gives it back to you. Again, this is also part of delegation. Before you would ask for a task, and then you would read it and see if it made sense. Now you also ask it to delegate, double check its work, give itself feedback, and give you an improved version. And this is brutal. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the next live practice. All right, so I'm in ChatGPT. As you can see, we have selected here our model 5.5, the latest model that we are going to be using. And I have attached here an Excel sheet, which I will show you right now, which has some sales data for a fictional company that sells supplements online and through other stores and also on Amazon. Now, I've prepared a prompt. Check this out. You're acting as Sovio's senior business consultant. Attached is their full sales data report, and your objective is to find the biggest opportunities to increase profit. Again, not just describing data. What is this model good at? It is good at reasoning, delegating tasks, breaking down what's important, reviewing its own work, giving itself feedback. Okay, we're going to be delegating all these tasks. This is the analysis that we actually want you to deliver. We want an executive summary, 3 most important problems in the numbers, the 3 biggest growth opportunities, and a concrete 90-day action plan with owners and sequence. 5 metrics I should watch out for. And now check this out. This line right here is something that a lot of people would actually forget about. And that is, before you give me the final answer, check your own work. Verify every conclusion is supported by the data. Flag anything you're inferring rather than measuring, very important. And remove any claim you can't back with a number. Okay, so we're going to send this in. While this is working, I'm also going to show you the sales report just so you can see all the data. It is, I wouldn't say a huge document, but it is relatively complex. We see here multiple rows with channel, units sold, price, cost of goods sold, marketing spend, gross revenue, percentages of gross margin and returns. And then we have here 145 rows. So it is a relevant file. Okay. Now we can see here it's analyzing the spreadsheet. And as you can see, it's not just reading, but it's actually breaking down every category and seeing what is needed. What am I going to ignore? What do I need to focus on so that it can find the correct conclusions? Okay. It's here checking profit. We can see the entire process, and I really like this. By the way, if I don't know if you knew this, but if you can click here and you'll get this preview so you can actually see all the functionalities happening before. Now, as you can see, it is breaking everything down. This is going to take a few minutes, so I'm just going to cut it here. And once we're done, we'll bring you the final result and analyze it together. Now, while we're waiting for the response, I just wanted to invite you to the free class that we host every single Monday. Yes, every Monday, where we do live practices just like this, and you can ask me any questions in the chat and learn as much as you want. So I hope to see you there. Anyways, let's go back to check the result. All right, so it took about a minute and a half, and here is the response. We can see we have an executive summary where we see a clear analysis. Sovio's biggest 90-day profit opportunity is not more spend. It's moving away from weak profit pools. Okay, interesting. In 2025, Sovio generated 1.7 gross million and 1.15 contributing profit after marketing. The major leak is Sovio's protein blend, which actually took 44% of all marketing spend, but produced only 18% of gross profit and 70.5K contribution profit for the year. The DTC website line actually lost money after marketing. So check out how interesting this is. How initially we see a sales report and we see, hey, we're selling a ton of protein, but hey, it's making you lose money. And then we also see that our own website, if you account the marketing attributed to it, you're losing money. If you don't subtract the marketing, you may have thought that this was a profitable line, but it isn't. Now, let's keep checking this out. The three most important problems with numbers. Okay, so this is our revenue, this is our profit, profit margin, marketing spend, etc. The worst line is the protein blend on our website specifically. So gross profit, marketing spend, we are losing money on protein on our own website. Okay, problem two, marketing spend is not aligned with margin or contribution. Okay, and here it's analyzing all the products and we can see exactly the share of marketing spend and the gap with the gross profit. We can also see on channels, it's analyzing each channel. Guys, check this out. Previous models would have scanned our Excel and I would have said, hey, I found a few things, everything looks great, everything's super positive. Check this cold, precise, and analytics-focused result that it is actually giving us. Very, very detailed. Okay, problem three, return rates are concentrated in, again, favorite product, your protein blend. You have a 10% return rate, which is crazy. It's more than triple than the rest of the products. Look how much revenue is coming from your returns, okay? The three biggest growth opportunities ranked by expected impact. Okay, you're losing money on protein on your website. You are gaining some money on Amazon and combined, well, there's the difference. Perfect. Number two, this product with a controlled budget. This is very interesting. This product, Sleep Complex, has the cleanest economics. 70% gross margin. Amazing. Only 1.6 return rate and very good numbers. Fix the protein blends and product economics, okay? Your units sold, everything. Okay, fantastic. Here's the 90-day plan where it's giving us step by step how it should do everything and how we should calculate our examples. Here it's giving us actual figures that we should have. So guys, the response here is just brutal, okay? And here it's giving us metrics to check out. Again, the quality of the response, you can really see how much you could autonomously delegate to this model. It didn't just break down everything and analyze it and deep dive and find very good conclusions and double check them themselves and make sure that every number is justified, but it did so in a minute and a half and with no supervision. And guys, this leads me to the conclusion of this model. This model is not so much what you see, but what is behind it. The strength of this model is how much you can delegate and how little you need to check after. And if you ask me, this is the future for this year of where models are headed. Agentic AI is taking over, and delegating and making sure AI can check its own work is a great way of removing the number of times that a human needs to be in the loop when working with AI. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and remember that every Monday we host a free class where we do live practices like this, and you can ask me questions live. You can sign up completely for free in the first link of the description. Also remember, we post 2 YouTube videos every single week, and I don't want you to miss them. So please subscribe and activate the notifications bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.